Hello and welcome. This is Paul Daggett with Remax Realty Professionals, and I'm doing a Zoom conference right now with Howard Crick. Howard is with Britannia Home Inspection Services. Howard, welcome.
Welcome. Hi, everyone.
It's good to have you here, Howard.
Yeah, good to be here. Thanks, Paul.
Yeah, well, we're doing what we can in the times of today where we have to social distance. I would have loved to have you here in my studio at my home, but here we are, keeping our social distancing and doing what's right and responsible for the public.
Yeah, that's right. Keeping it safe.
Exactly. Piece of Howard. And so today our topic is about Poly B. And Poly B is a standard of plumbing that was used throughout construction in Calgary for a number of years. So exactly what is Poly B, Howard?
So Poly B is a flexible grey piping. It was used in residential plumbing and hot water systems. About the mid-70s to mid-90s throughout North America. It's a grey pipe, very flexible, not like your copper, light in colour, and it has a stamp on it. It'll have there's a couple of different manufacturers' names stamped on it. It was the wonder pipe, the new pipe. Copper was expensive, and they kind of were looking for a replacement, so they come up with polybutylene.
And the advantage of that product was that it was bendable, right? So
yeah,
it wasn't like copper pipe, where it was
very easy to install, user friendly, much cheaper than copper, much less labor intensive. You didn't have to do any soldering of joints or try and get into some really tight areas. This stuff, you can basically bend it and manipulate it pretty much where you wanted it, within reasons. And some of the reasons that it has failed is because some of the insulation was a little bit too flexible.
As we continue to talk about the Poly B, there were certainly advantages using it back in the day when it came in. What were concerns that cropped up with that particular product that stemmed from, when they were installing it back in the day, that caused some of the problems that we have today?
Well, they kind of found a lot of problems were coming up sort of through the 80s. There was a lot of failures going on, a lot in the States. And they realized that, hey, hang on, there may be a problem with this product. A lot of it, there's lots of ideas and theories out there about actually why these things were failing. Some of the mainstays are poor installation, bending, like I was saying, too flexible, bending around tight bends. I think we have a shot of one of the crimped pipes.
Yeah, let's take a look. This is
so a poor installation like this. This is a perfect example. This is one I caught on an inspection, just where it had just been bent, where they've been pulling it up and into the fixture. They bent it. Quite visible in the mechanical room. They didn't do anything about it. They've left it, and it's kind of things like this that will cause turbulence up against it, and then can cause little pinhole leaks.
So right in this area here.
And right in there, yeah. And then the problem with Poly B is that you can't tell externally what's going on. A lot of the problems are starting inside,
right?
Thinning out and getting pinholes. So things like this are not good.
Oh, okay. So if we just backtrack a bit then, and we take a look at what the product looked like in the house.
Yes. So this is a perfect example of polybutylene pipe, lightish grey. We have copper crimps. They did this later on. It kind of reduced the failure rate. But the thing with the copper crimps as well, sometimes they were over crimped, or sometimes they were on the angle. There's a great example there. And if they were over crimped, they tend to shear at the joints. So that can happen too. And before this, they used to use it's like the plastic connections. They were white or grey, acetal fittings. These things would just fail. I mean, I've touched these particular fittings and they failed in my hand. But later on, a reduced failure rate through the copper fittings.
Oh, I see. And so what we see in this picture here, it is illustrating a combo, right?
Yes, this is kind of, if anyone's adding on today, they'll use the modern PEX
And this
piping.
is the white material here.
Yeah, so this is like the new version of Poly B, should we say. Much more resistant to the hot water, chemicals and chlorine. But sometimes if you see this scenario, if you're viewing a house or you see a house with this in, if you see lots of these kind of connections, and then sometimes they're not even branched off to another fixture, it's just a white piece of pipe in between, it means that they could have had a leak. Leak could be ongoing, or they've just done the repair. So it's just something to be aware of when you see this.
Ah, I see.
And these are special connectors as well that go from PEX to Poly B, just so they can be joined and added on. And this is common everywhere. I see this all the time in homes.
Okay, that's good. And so really it was the original installation of the product that causes issues, right? And so here's another example.
Yeah, and many things. Hot water. Poly B doesn't like excessively hot water. Free chlorine levels and chemicals in the water as well has helped considerably to break the pipe down. Bearing in mind, I'm saying this. Yeah.
This example here was illustrating poor installation through flooring.
Poor installation. Yeah, they've come up to a toilet, and what they've done is to get the pipe in and straight up to the toilet valve, they bent it.
Oh,
and this was like this for a long time. And this is on when I came back to view, they'd taken the floor up to see what the problem was, because it was leaking underneath, which
the leak happened right here where the crimp was.
Yeah, and it had leaked all the way down.
And you can see where it's wet down here too.
Yeah, it was soaking wet. I didn't need a thermal camera for that. You could just see straight away underneath. I knew that they had polybutylene pipes installed in the home. So I kind of suspected, it's probably a pinhole leak or something, but it was actually bad installation. They'd actually kinked it. So they kinked it, and it weakened the pipe, and then they had a pinhole leak, and it was leaking.
Okay, so you were talking about issues that can go wrong with the Poly B if not just the insulation, but you also talked about temperature too, right?
Yes, temperature is very important. Poly B doesn't like hot water. Some people have their hot water tank temperatures cranked right up, say like B, C, or the very hot one.
Right.
And it doesn't do your Poly B any favors at all. The best thing to do is to keep it down to say A. You don't really want to go any lower. You can get waterborne bacteria in your tank. So if you keep it around A, which is A is about 130 degrees Fahrenheit. You definitely don't want it any higher than that. So keeping your water tank temperature down would definitely help.
I see. So this is the thermostat on the hot water tank that you want to keep an A, not B or C. Although people like to have that extra hot water, but it could be a detriment if you have the Poly B. Yeah.
So another way out of that is that you can get a temperature. It's like a valve goes on the tank, and you can turn the tank right up hot, and then from that, this valve tempers the water down, so it's a little bit more comfortable at your point of use at the fixtures.
Okay, so sorry.
Yeah. No, go on.
So we have insulation issues. We have water temperature that could be an issue. What's another issue that could occur in a home then?
Water pressure. Water pressure is a big one.
And I see we have a picture of that here.
Yeah.
And what is this showing us?
Well, this is 60 psi pressure into the home. Water pressure from the city line, the city street water. 60 is about maximum of what you want for Poly B. The recommendations are between 40 and 60 psi max. Because of the pressure, it puts pressure on the fittings, on the thinner wall pipe as well, and it can lead to bursts, quicker bursts as well. So it's always good to keep that water pressure down.
Gotcha.
Yeah, some people have it. I've seen them up at 100 100 psi. They haven't had any problems, but it's a matter of probabilities. It's not doing it any favors, and it could burst.
Okay, so people that have poly B in their home, if they are exhibiting an issue, it's advisable to have an expert go in and take a look and see where that issue is stemming from.
Yep.
And if it's like a crimp line that's caused the leak, then probably elsewhere, if they've been in there for 25, 30 years, is likely pretty solid still. Is that correct?
Yeah, some people will say to me, hey, I've had poly B in my home for 15, 20 years. What are you talking about? I've never had a problem. I've lived in 3 homes in Calgary, and every one has had poly B in, and I've never had an issue. But saying that, some people have. We haven't had such a bigger failure rate in Canada as they have in the US.
Right.
But it's a known kind of defective pipe. The insurance companies definitely want to know you've got it.
Right.
They will definitely, most insurance companies will insure you, but there will be a higher premium, and they will definitely put that up. So
good to know. So
yeah.
People that have poly B, if they're wondering if they do, they can go into their basement, look at the piping, and it will have
Yep.
these markings on it, which PB illustrates it is poly B.
Yeah, PB2110 is a real classic stamp on it. There's other ones as well. There's other Plombatera, there's another name stamped on it. But generally, it's all light grey colour. And when I do home inspections, sometimes we're walking through, and I'm in the mechanical room, and I point to them as poly B, and they don't have a clue what I'm talking about. And the realtor will look at me like, oh, I didn't know. So then I have to explain.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're explaining in a kind of short amount of time, it's difficult. The best thing to do, what my advice to people is, if they're going to view a home, if they're in the mechanical room, or even if they look under the kitchen sink, they see the lightish grey pipe, there's a good chance that you've got poly B in the home. So then just research it. Research a little bit about it, get educated about it, and talk to your insurance company. The very first thing I'd do if I was viewing a home, is that if I came out of there and I saw there was poly B, I would talk to my insurance company, because they have the governing word on it. Okay, yeah, that's no problem. Some of them just say, as long as the crimps look good, we're good with it. So if you're educated and you know about it, then when it comes to the home inspection and I say, hey, you got poly B, nobody's gonna go, oh, what's this, and be upset about it. At least they're educated about it.
Right. Yeah.
I personally would not lose a home over poly B. I moved into mine, I knew I had it. And it looks good, the crimps look good. I've taken procedures of lowering the water pressure, keeping the hot water tank down, and I don't really see a big issue with it. All I would do is probably maybe budget in the future for a replacement, just keep it in the back of my mind that one day I may have to have it replaced.
Right.
So yeah, it's not worth losing your dream home over. I wouldn't walk into a place and say, this is polybutylene, I'm out of here. I don't believe that.
Well, all the information you've been able to share with us, Howard, today has been really helpful. I know that there's a lot of homes in Calgary that do have the poly B. And
yeah, I think 77,000 at the moment. Probably.
Yeah, that's a serious number. And
yeah.
But the key point that's being made here is it's not something to really get too upset about. It's something where it is a product that has been used, and if it's been in there for 25 years and no leaks, then likelihood is it's going to last a lot longer. Is that correct?
Yeah, if you take all these precautions, you know, with the pressure and stuff, just a few things. You can also buy, they do a device that goes on the water main that is like a whole house leak shutoff. I think Moen make it, it's Flow or something.
Oh yeah.
You could always put one of those on as well. So if you get a leak, then at least it's not going to be catastrophic. It can be caught, and this thing will shut it down.
Well, excellent.
Yeah, so there are lots of measures.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. So really appreciate your expertise and your time here today. We've had a chance to chat quite a bit about the PolyB product in homes within Calgary area. And so Howard, once again, thank you for joining me on our Zoom meeting and helping people understand a little bit more about PolyB that is in the homes in the surrounding Calgary area. So be safe out there.
Yeah, thanks, Paul. Thanks for everybody for watching. Stay safe.
It's great having you here once again, and I look forward to our next meeting, and hopefully we'll be able to actually meet together at some point.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, hopefully this new norm won't be the new norm.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, all the best to you, Howard. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Andrew, thanks, Paul.
Okay, take care now.